Regarding calibration in this test that you showed, the tests that you have done are all the sensors were calibrated beforehand, or?
No, they were actually calibrated on the fly. We typically use information such as GPS velocities to calibrate them. So we do not require to calibrate it in the lab. It's just calibrated while actually the user switch off the system.
And do you assume that for all those tests, velocity was available through the test?
Of course, yeah. I mean, calibration, you need something to reference to, right? You know, for example, in lab calibration, you either have a rotation table to calibrate the gyro, or you have a horizontal table to calibrate the lab. So you need definitely external measurements in order to calibrate the sensor pulses.
Ed, I'm trying to compare this RFID versus RFID approach to volumes that Dinesh talked about in the morning. And realistically, how much is going to be the cost of adding this to a smartphone, an RFID reader? And have you talked to any smartphone? Because I'm trying to, for some mission critical, for some applications, let's say a warehouse or something, there's a company might be willing to do this, to have specialized smartphones. But if you're talking about the general public, what are the chances of really seeing RFID readers with like that read range that you were talking about in a cell?
Well, so there's not very many people that make RFID reader ASICs. And because of that, and because it's relatively new, the price they demand for ASICs is pretty high. Especially talking to a bunch of people used to buying chips for cell phones, where they're still getting, $20 for an ASIC. But if you look at the silicon area, they shouldn't be getting much more than $2 for that ASIC. So Samsung, a couple years ago, developed an RFID reader ASIC for their own experimentation. And I think they came out with some test phones with it, but I never saw anything come from it. So it's very possible for ASIC vendors to put these algorithms into silicon and sell them at a price where it could end up in a cell phone. It is another radio, and it requires power, and if you want to get 10-meter read range, you're going to use a lot of power. But if you're there's a company that makes tags that go in carpet tiles. So if the model is to put the tags in the floor, the read range is lower and the power requirements are less. But to answer your question, it's just a matter of time before that is available.